Hello everyone, Christopher Allen of Christopher Allen Designs. And today what I want to show you how to do is I have had a lot of requests on how to layer vinyl on a couple of different materials, but today what I want to do is I want to go ahead and show you how to layer it on this iPad case. This iPad case I actually got at Five Below. They have tons and tons of different varieties. It's just a very simple case, and it was actually only $5 because that's the price on all their cases there. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to do a Frankenstein. I really like old horror movies and things like that myself, so I know I had talked about my friends in previous videos liking those. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a Frankenstein on here. I'm going to head over to the Cricut design space and show you how to kind of get it ready to go in there. And actually today we're going to do things a little bit differently. The supplies that we're going to need for this is just something simply to go ahead and put your vinyl on, and you're also going to need different varieties of vinyl, also a weeding tool, and some scissors. So those should be the only supplies that you need for this craft today. And we're going to go ahead and head over to the computer, and then I'm going to show you how to put everything together and assemble it. Okay, thanks for watching. Okay everyone, so here we are in our Cricut design space, and what we're first going to do is we're going to jump over here and we're going to grab our image. Now the image that I'm going to be using is Frankenstein, so what we'll do is, as you can see, it's already up, but I will type in Frankenstein so you can see how everything comes up. You're going to hit the search, and I actually have the subscription, so these are all the images that I'm subscribed to, and then I have some that are purchased. I still have to upload, I know I'm behind, all of my purchase cartridges, and those will all change from subscribed to purchased, but I just have not had a chance to put through all of my many cartridges. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and I really like this Frankenstein that says beware, so we're going to go ahead and we are going to green check, green box, and we can insert the image, and it's good to go. Now my iPad cover is about 10 inches tall by about, I'd say 7 inches wide. So what we're going to do is, unfortunately, that 7 inches is actually cut a little bit off with the buckle that you saw, so it's about 4.5 inches wide. So what we're going to do is, this is a little bit of a square, I believe, once I look in the edit. So we want to make the width about 4.5. And that should make our height around 4.5 as well. So let's see if we make the height 4.5, how big that makes that. 4.72 we still will probably be okay with. That'll just go a little bit under the buckle or right at the buckle. So what we're going to do here is, now we can see that I have my image, the one that I want to use, and you can see here that this is actually going to be cut out if I hit go right now. And this is a little trick that I like to use because I like to cut everything out on the same mat. If you've watched any of my other videos, the tutorials, I have kind of shown how I like to do everything on one mat if possible. So what we're going to do here is, this is actually cutting out on 4 mats. We have 4 different colors. We have black, we have a purple, we have a silver, and we have a green. Now I want to cut all of these out on the same mat. So I do believe I have mentioned this before in another one of the tutorials, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of reiterate it here. So we're going to close out of here. We're not going to hit go. And what we want to do is we want to click on our actual image here. And we want to hit sync. Now we want to remember what these colors were. So we're going to go ahead and put all these colors together so that they will cut on the same mat. Now do not get worried. This is going to turn into a big black blob. That is okay. We're going to go in now, and when we hit go, it's going to actually cut all of these on the same mat because it believes that all of these colors are black. But that is not exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to cut them all out in their own respective colors. So this one we're going to put down here in this corner, we remembered was green. And then this one we're going to go ahead and put down in this corner, which I remembered was purple. And then these two, this one I remembered was silver. So we'll put this up in this corner. Again, if the boxes turn red, that means it will not cut and it will not let you hit go. And then we are going to go ahead and put this black up here in this corner. So we know now whenever we go ahead and we set up our mat that we have black here, silver over here, the purple down here, and the green down in this corner. Now you want to take notice of these numbers. They are kind of hard to see whenever you are using a lighter color. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that this goes over to about the 5.5 by about 5.5 square. And the same here, we'll do like a 5.5 by 5.5 square here. And we can do about, I'd say, a 3-inch by 5.5 square down on each side of this. And what I'll do is I'll actually show you how I set up the mat whenever we jump over to the video of me actually putting everything onto the iPad case, and you'll be able to see how I am weeding and how I set everything up. But what we're going to do for now is we're just going to hit go, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut this out, and I'll be right back to show you how to apply it. Okay everyone, as you can see here, I have my mat already cut out. You can't really see that yet until I start weeding, but this is how I did the colors, how I showed you that we're going to do the different colors so we could cut it out in the different areas. And again, here is our iPad case that we're going to be putting this on. I did choose a different shade of green so that it does show up here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and, oh, real quick, I want to show you. This is what I was talking about with the buckle. When I did do this measurement, and if you watch my tutorial videos, for some reason I never have this ruler in the right place. I'm always flipping it around. It is about 7 inches, but 4.5 is about as far as we can go over to this side. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this to the side real quick, and we're going to take our weeding tool, my favorite tool. We're going to go ahead and we are just going to do like we've done in so many other tutorial videos, and we are just going to weed this out. And that is we're going to be weeding out the negative space. Now on this one, you'll be able to see that there are a bunch of different lines. I don't know if it's going to be really hard to see, but there's quite a few different lines here, and that kind of gives us our guide for what we are going to be lining up. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to weed out the rest of our pieces. I know that usually I'm a huge stickler on saving this vinyl for another project, but this vinyl actually I'm not going to be saving, because sometimes whenever you are using this different, I'm using this is actually outdoor vinyl. The purple and the green are both outdoor vinyl, and I find that it's kind of hard if you accidentally peel a piece up and try to put it back down. It becomes very difficult to reuse it. So that you know, I don't reuse these ones, and there's not much of the black to reuse, and there's not much of the silver to reuse, or else I would normally reuse these. And you can also tell, I don't know if you can see this here, but the outdoor vinyl, when it rips, it's a little bit of a clean rip, whereas if you rip the indoor vinyl, it kind of stretches a little bit. So it does have a little bit of a different consistency, but these are just, I have many more colors in the outdoor vinyl than the indoor vinyl, because I do some decals and stuff with the indoor vinyl. So what we're going to do is we're first going to take my favorite tool here, and that, again, for vinyl work, my favorite tool is this magic cover. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut ourselves a piece that is going to fit over top of these other pieces. Now I'm going to try to do this in a way that you can see exactly what's going on. It might be a little bit tricky, because I'm just going to actually bring up I'm going to put in the center of the camera the part that we're working on at that actual time. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to cut myself out a couple little pieces here. You can't see me cutting it, but all I'm doing is, now you can see, I'm just cutting out these pieces kind of in a mishmash, however you want to cut it out. And, oops, there goes some more vinyl. It's everywhere in here. I know you can't see the whole room, but right now with the transition and moving, it's everywhere. So what I'm going to do, as we always do, is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this tool. This is what helps me get this top part off. This tool allows me to just rip the top part of this transfer tape. I'm just going to start calling it transfer tape, because that's what I always call it, even though it's not. It is, the shelf liner. And we're going to go ahead now. This, you want to pay attention to your layers when you're cutting this out. This is our bottom layer, this silver, and then the black goes on top, and then we have our purple and then our green. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my burnishing tool, and you want to really burnish this down well, especially when you're doing layering, because layering, I have learned, is not very forgiving with the bubbles. Whenever you get those air bubbles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and it doesn't move around as easily as it used to because I have this skid mat underneath. And I'm going to go ahead, and since I can see through this material, which normally, if you were using this, which is the Cricut transfer tape, which is great if you're doing stuff on walls, you can't see through this very well. So that's why I like to use this, because I can see through this. And as you can see here, I did get this onto the shadow. I like whenever I do these to actually do them a little bit off center of the shadow, because it looks kind of more fun like that for me. But you can, play around with this to get it as centered as you would like, but that looks, perfect for me. And then what you do is you want to really get this down well, because if you can hear, I have some big air bubbles in here. So we want to get those air bubbles out, because any of these air bubbles that you see coming up through here is an air bubble that is going to show through, and we do not want that. So we're going to try to get all those air bubbles out, and then we're going to lift this up. And you can see that those were actually luckily just air bubbles that were in our clear layer here, and they did not actually transfer through. Now, if you do have any air bubbles, and I can see here that I have one right here, since there's something that's going to be going on top, if I can't work this out by just going like this, which sometimes you can, just take the end of this tool or the end of a pin, poke it very gently, and then go over top of it, and that will release the air from it, and it will be gone. So we can go ahead and we can throw this away. We're done with it, and we'll grab a smaller piece that I had cut. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get our purple put on here. And that was the first layer. This would be, of course, the easiest layer, because it, is just a shadow. So now what we'll do is I want to go ahead and do our purple layer, which is going to be a little bit trickier, because you do have to actually look for, you're going to want to look for these lines that are here. And I know it's really hard and you probably can't see them. You can see I have a couple of little air bubbles here. But once you take a look at, in most all of the Cricut cartridges, when you are using anything that has multiple layers, the cartridge actually, or the design actually cuts those indentations in, and it's just like when we're doing paper, so you can see where these different elements are supposed to go on top. So now I'm going to grab my purple, because that's our next layer, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a look here as to where those lines are on here. So I see, it looks like they are, and forgive me, it's kind of hard to see, but it's only hard for me to see because I'm not in the greatest lighting right now. And it looks like to me that they're about right here. And now you do have a little bit of wiggle room time to kind of maneuver and move this around. And looks like to me, again, I am trying to see these lines but also let you see what I'm doing at the same time. So it looks like that's about right there. And again, if it's a little bit off, it's your creation, and no one will know but you. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to put that down, because that looks about right to me. And actually, what I just realized while I was putting this down and while I was looking is I actually forgot to pull up a couple of layers on my vinyl. So luckily with this, it should be very easy for me to go ahead and pull those up now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to just grab the black layer of this vinyl. And as you can see, I got it there, and I'm just going to pull up these letters, because I did forget to pull out some of the elements. Now with this, normally this is not what you would be doing. You would have taken the black element off first, but I do want you to see here that in my mistake, you are able to still do this. You just want to be very careful and make sure that you get the top, just the top layer. Now, this is not something that I would suggest doing. This is obviously, you know, a boo-boo. I forgot to pull up these layers while I was chatting away with you guys. But you do want to make sure that you get this top black layer, you know, of vinyl off of here before you're placing it down on the other vinyl, because if this black vinyl that I'm putting on top of here was not an indoor vinyl and it was an outdoor vinyl, it would probably be much more difficult for me to get this up, if not impossible for me to get this up. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these letters done, and I'm actually going to go ahead and do the rest of the weeding out that I forgot to do. I'm going to fast forward while I'm doing that, and then we'll come back when I'm going to put the hands on and when we're going to apply it to the iPad cover. Okay, so now what I've done is I've gone ahead and I weeded out all those areas that I forgot to weed out earlier. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this piece here of my, oh, I'm going to get that out of there. Take this piece of my transfer and go ahead and go over this green. And then we're going to go ahead and we are going to place this where we think it is best, and right there looks good to me. And again, you can follow the lines. I personally am not a big line follower because it I kind of just look and see what looks best to me, and that looks like the best form to me, at least. So now everything is done. Again, we do want to make sure that all of this weeding is done before we put those other pieces in. But I think this looks like a pretty neat graphic for Halloween, or in my case, any day of the week. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take another piece of my transfer roll here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut it out. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to take and use my roller this time, that handy dandy tool that I told you that I don't really use all that often, because I use, if you watched my fabric tutorial, how to use the fabric with the Explore, I actually figured out a way to put the backing onto the fabric and go ahead and cut it out with the backing on it. So I don't really use that rolly tool so much anymore, but I do use it a lot to cut off the extra vinyl, and I do use it to cut my transparent transfer material. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to put this on top of here, on top of our whole image now. Now this is 3 or 4 layers, excuse me. We're going to go like this. We're going to take my iPad cover, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this flap here, because I don't mind if the flap goes over top of the image whenever, we're going to take this out. I don't care if it goes over top of the image whenever it's closed, because it's usually going to be open when people are going to see it. And now what I'll do is I'll flip this over so I have a flat surface here on this guy here, and we'll go ahead. We'll take our layer of vinyl, and I'm just going to place it right where I think is center, or what looks best for me. Again, right there looks great. I'm going to take our burnishing tool, make sure we get that down really well. Take a drink. Oh, it's warm here today in Pittsburgh, so get a little thirsty. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll pull this off, and we should have a perfect transfer. Now again, you're going to be able to see most likely with the camera that there are a couple of marks up here and things like that from where I did pull this out, those can of course just be burnished down because the vinyl is very forgiving, or I can just redo, you know, another layer. But normally you would not be taking out that weeding after the fact. But as you can see here, I mean, I think this looks absolutely fantastic. Again, once we put this buckle in, it is going to cover that up just a little bit. But what I really like about the vinyl with these cases like this is, since the vinyl is super forgiving, this folds and you can see like it goes right back to the way that it was. As you can see, it scrunches and I'm like, oh my goodness, but it's so forgiving and going back. So you can, I mean, use this the way that it's intended, where I believe you can go ahead and put this in here and, you know, hold up the iPad, all different things. And that vinyl is not, I mean, it's very durable. So there is our finished case. And I hope you enjoyed the tutorial today. And if you have any questions, again, of course, go ahead and comment below or send me a message. And I thank you, and you have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.